So, imagine you need to leave a crowded room because you're just like completely drained. Setting a healthy boundary should really be as simple as just walking out the door. But instead, you sit down, and exhaust yourself writing this 10-page manual on exactly why you're leaving, and then you hand it out to everyone, desperately hoping no one gets upset.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but we literally all do it.
Really do. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. To figure out why we actually do this, we are pulling from a stack of psychological research, some great listener notes, and a pretty profound piece by ORRIE Karim to uncover the hidden mechanics of managing distance. Our mission today is to help you reclaim your mental bandwidth. So, okay, let's unpack this. Why does our brain force us to write that manual in the first place?
Well, it's because before we reach a certain point of emotional maturity, distance is rarely just physical space. It becomes this massive internal theater production.
A theater production? Wait, what do you mean by that?
I mean, we engage in endless anticipation. We soften our language, and we mentally rehearse exactly how our absence is going to land. You aren't just experiencing your own life. You are actively trying to pre-manage someone else's emotional interpretation of your boundaries.
Right, yeah. But wait, if I just walk away without explaining myself thoroughly, doesn't that make me the toxic one? I mean, there's a fine line between a healthy boundary and just ghosting someone. How do we square that? If I am highly intentional and I explain my need for space using all the right therapy words, shouldn't they just understand it perfectly?
Well, that assumes perception directly mirrors intention, which Karim points out is a pretty persistent illusion.
Oh, interesting. So it doesn't.
Not at all. Meaning always passes through the other person's unique filters, goes through their memory, their personal biases, their history, and their current emotional state.
That makes sense. So even if my words are perfect, they might hear something completely different.
Exactly. And the reason your body compels you to over-explain is, well, it's deeply biological. Evolutionarily speaking, being misunderstood or alienated from the tribe was a literal death sentence.
Wow. So when someone misinterprets our need for space today, our brain still registers it as a severe social threat.
Right. It totally spikes our nervous system.
Which is why we end up treating a boundary as a negotiation rather than, an actual boundary. If I just say, I need space, I feel exposed, so I try to control their reaction, that is the trap. It's like sending a carefully crafted text, watching the read receipt, and then completely spiraling when you get a one-word reply like, K.
Oh, yeah, that spiral perfectly illustrates the tension between clarity and control. Clarity is grounded and internal. It simply says, this is where I am. It is enough, all on its own.
And control is the opposite of that.
Yeah, control says, I need you to understand this correctly so I can feel at peace. Control is anxious. It's checking those read receipts and trying to manage the unmanageable, which keeps your nervous system trapped in this endless emotional loop.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Once you accept that you literally cannot control their perception, your own nervous system can finally settle. It feels like going into the settings of your personal life and just, turning off the comment section.
Turning off the comment section. I really like that analogy.
Yeah. Your silence or your distance isn't a gap that desperately needs to be filled with justification anymore. The silence becomes a form of completion in itself.
And turning off that comment section forces you to realize something kind of uncomfortable. True emotional independence isn't about gaining independence from people. You aren't becoming cold or careless.
Right. It's not about just pushing everyone away.
Exactly. It's about gaining independence from the need to manage how those people process you. Distance stops being a diplomatic treaty you negotiate with language and becomes something you simply hold through consistency.
You remain clear and you remain grounded. People will still narrate your absence, obviously. They are going to construct their own stories about why you stepped away. That is just human nature.
But you are no longer obligated to live inside those narratives or, exhaust yourself correcting them in real time. You just have to let people misunderstand you.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means that perception is not your assignment. You are only responsible for clarity, and clarity absolutely does not require someone else's approval to exist. You can be entirely intentional, still be misread, and that doesn't cancel out your clarity or make you a bad person.
Let's circle back to that 10-page manual we were talking about at the start of our deep dive. Think about the sheer amount of mental bandwidth it takes to draft that, to hand it out, to monitor everyone's reaction to it.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It really is. So if you completely stop spending your mental energy trying to make your boundaries palatable to others, what massive untapped parts of your own life could you finally fuel with all that reclaimed energy?